Hi, I'm Chuck Hinton, work for McIntosh Laboratories, and I'd like to talk about our new AP1000 audio processor. This is a very unique product. It, besides being a home theater pre-pro, it has a very unique room correction system that is not available in any home audio product at this time. This actually has a process that's been used in the broadcast industry, mostly in Europe, and it's used to process the sound of a remote studio to make it sound exactly like the master studio of where the original broadcast happens, so that they can jump back and forth between different locations and have the same acoustic sound. So basically they'll sample the master studio and then use the processor to make the remote studio sound exactly the same way. We're applying it to home audio, so it's able to correct for problems in acoustics in the room, but even more special than that, it's actually capable of relocating where you hear the speakers coming from. So the video display that you see on the front of the product actually doubles as a control screen, and you'll actually get a representation of where the speakers are in your room on the screen. And say you have a problem like a fireplace with a plasma TV over it and no place to put your center channel speaker, you actually can move that center channel speaker over to the side, and the audio processor will actually move it to where you hear the sound coming out of the fireplace. Good. Or if an architect has spec'd out side speakers very high in the wall, you can see a representation of a side view of your speaker locations and move them down so you hear them coming out at ear level. So it's a really unique and interesting application of audio processing.
And what's the other product beneath it?
This mates with the VP1000 video processor, scaler, and switcher. So this will switch video for you, convert everything up to HDMI, and up converts and down converts to all the outputs simultaneously, so that you can have composite component, S-video, and HDMI all coming out, all the outputs all at once. It's also the world's first two-zone scaler. All of our home theater products have two zones, so that you can have a home theater playing and you can have two-channel playing in another room simultaneously. This is our new XRT 300 loudspeaker. There's a very interesting concept used in this speaker called line array technology. This is what you see in many concert halls where you have a large column of speakers hanging in a line. And there's many advantages to this over your standard speaker configuration. For one thing, there's a very high rejection above and below the plane of drivers, so the sound doesn't bounce off the floor or bounce off the ceiling and cause early reflections. Another important part of a line source is its on-axis response. It's the area where the sound is consistent and best out of a speaker. On a typical single-tweeter speaker, your on-axis response is about 30 degrees. So the speakers get towed in, and you get a sweet spot of about the size of the couch. Mm-hmm. A line array speaker has an on-axis response of 130 degrees. This means your sweet spot is as big as the entire room. Another issue with single-tweeter speakers is the volume of the tweeter falls off as you go farther away. And in a typical single tweeter speaker, after you go back to where you're down about 3 decibels, every 6 feet you're down another 3 decibels. So you only have about a 6-foot area of seating where the sound is consistent throughout. But in the line array, it actually goes 18 feet before there's a single drop off of 3 decibels. So the output is consistent over a huge area of 18 feet wide and just about as wide as the room and 18 feet deep. Because of the massive amount of drivers, the power handling of these speakers is enormous, and they easily handle our 1200-watt amplifier and 5,000-watt peaks because of all those drivers share the load, and so only a very small percentage of power is actually in each driver.
Are these available right now?
These are brand new prototypes we just built. The paint is wet,
okay.
And we expect to see these around summer '07.
And we can expect a high price tag for a product of this quality?
It shouldn't be much more than a Toyota.